Stop everything you are doing right now and pray for the culture, because the red line hasn't just been crossed, it's been soaked in blood. What you are looking at is the forbidden footage the Atlanta PD and the Harris family tried to scrub from the dark web. This is King Harris, the Prince of the South, hooked up to a forest of life support machines, fighting for every single gasp of air after the surgical, high-intensity takedown by 50 Cent's elite security detail. But here's the part that has the FBI and the entire G-Unit empire in a state of absolute, paralyzing terror. At exactly 3:14 a.m., a nurse, risking a lifetime in prison, leaked a 10-second voice note allegedly recorded by King himself, whispered through a bloody breathing tube directly to Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's private phone. It's not a plea for mercy. It's a chilling, deathbed execution warrant that has triggered a code black across the industry. As T.I. stands by his son's side with a look of cold-blooded murder in his eyes, the streets are arming themselves for a war that has no survivors. Stay tuned, because the audio you are about to hear changes the history of hip-hop forever. The countdown to the final retaliation starts now. To understand the blood on the hospital floor tonight, we have to look at the two tectonic plates of the culture that have finally collided. For 20 years, Curtis 50 Cent, Jackson, and Clifford T.I. Harris moved like parallel lines, massive, powerful, and elite, but destined to eventually destroy everything in their path. This isn't just a rap beef. This is the autopsy of a brotherhood turned into a blood feud. On one side, you have the Southside Queen's assassin. 50 Cent is a man who turned 9 bullets into a billion-dollar blueprint. His entire brand is built on the systematic deletion of his enemies. From Ja Rule to Rick Ross, the industry is a graveyard of careers belonging to men who thought they could play with 50 and lived to regret it. He doesn't just out-rap you. He outmaneuvers, out-trolls, and outlasts you. He is the master of psychological warfare, a man who waits in the shadows until you are at your weakest before he pulls the digital trigger. On the other side, you have the King of the South. T.I. is a man of immense pride, deep family roots, and a legacy he would burn the entire world down to protect. He gave himself the crown of Atlanta, and for 2 decades, he wore it with a sophisticated, calculated elegance. But behind the designer suits and the grand hustle, Empire lies a veteran of the streets who knows exactly what it means to go to war. For years, the respect was shaky. A distant nod at an awards show, a cautious acknowledgement of each other's hustle. But in early 2026, the energy shifted. It started with a simple versus challenge that 50 Cent laughed off, calling T.I. a local talent with a global ego. T.I. fired back, calling 50 a corporate snitch who forgot the smell of the streets. We all thought it was just entertainment. We were wrong. The real powder keg was King Harris. T.I.'s eldest son wasn't raised in the era of lyrical restraint. He was raised in the era of viral aggression, seeking to prove he was outside, and more than just a rich kid from a reality show, King stepped into the lion's den. He didn't just target 50's music, he targeted 50's soul. He went to the grave. He invoked the name of Sabrina Jackson, 50's late mother, who was tragically taken from him when he was only 8 years old. King stood in front of his smartphone, eyes bloodshot with adrenaline, and told 50 to dig her up so she can see what a coward her son became. The industry went silent. You don't poke the bear, and you certainly don't spit on the grave of the woman who shaped the most ruthless man in entertainment. Insiders say that for 72 hours, 50 Cent was a ghost. No memes, no lols, no Peppa the Frog. Just a terrifying, vacuum-sealed silence. T.I. reportedly tried to call 50 to apologize for his son's mouth, sensing the impending disaster. But 50 didn't pick up. Instead, a message was sent back through a third party. The bill is due, and I collect in person. The air in Atlanta turned radioactive. Every veteran in the game knew that King Harris had just signed a certificate of destruction. No amount of security, no King of the South status, and no amount of money could shield a son from the wrath of a man who survived 9 shots to become a kingmaker. The stage was set for a tragedy that would be televised, leaked, and ultimately whispered through a breathing tube in an ICU bed. The storm didn't just arrive, it brought the entire house down. The date, February 26th. The location, an ultra-exclusive, invite-only gala in the heart of Buckhead, Atlanta. The atmosphere was thick with the scent of expensive cologne, champagne, and impending doom. King Harris arrived with a small, loud entourage, riding the high of his social media victory over the G-Unit mogul. Witnesses say he was shouting, "Where's the bully now? Tell Fifth I'm in his backyard. We outside." He felt untouchable, shielded by his father's legendary status in the A. He thought he was playing a game of digital chess. He had no idea he was walking into a physical graveyard. According to a leaked statement from a high-level club promoter who is now in hiding, and we are seeing these frantic messages pop up on the dark web as we speak, 50 Cent's elite security detail had already cordoned off every exit before King even stepped out of his limousine. These aren't just bodyguards. We are talking about former Mossad and Special Forces operators, men trained to neutralize threats before they even materialize. The confrontation didn't happen on the dance floor under the strobe lights. It happened in the Vantablack service corridor leading to the private parking garage, a cold, concrete tunnel where the music from the club is just a muffled heartbeat. The leaked security footage, which we have seen fragments of, shows King Harris being intercepted. There was no rap beef posturing. There were no bars. It was a surgical, high-intensity neutralization. 50 Cent wasn't even seen throwing a punch, but his lead enforcer, a 300-pound mountain of a man known only as the Ghost, allegedly delivered a single, devastating blow. King Harris's head hit a massive concrete pillar with a sound that one waitress described as a gunshot without the flash. King dropped instantly, his body hitting the floor like a rag doll. Panic erupted as his associates were frozen in place, reportedly warned that any interference would result in a permanent solution from the G-Unit enforcers. But here is the first shocking twist that has the entire industry paralyzed with fear. As King Harris lay unresponsive on the cold concrete, 50 Cent allegedly walked out of the shadows. He didn't call for an ambulance. He didn't show remorse. Instead, he slowly took out his phone, recorded a 5-second video of King's unconscious, bleeding body, and sent it directly to T.I.'s private number. The caption? "Your prince dropped his crown. Come pick it up before the janitor sweeps him away." But it gets even darker. As T.I. was reportedly seen screaming through the streets of Atlanta, pushing his custom SUV to 120 miles per hour to reach his son, the ambulance carrying King was allegedly intercepted by 2 blacked-out SUVs. They didn't kidnap him. They simply blocked the path, delaying the medical team for 4 crucial, life-altering minutes. For minutes where King's brain was deprived of optimal oxygen. By the time he reached the ER, he was in a code blue state. Heart stopped. Lungs failing. The Harris family was notified at 2:10 a.m. Tiny Harris was seen collapsing in the hospital lobby, held back by nurses as her screams echoed through the sterile halls. But T.I.? T.I. was a statue of ice. He walked into that ICU room, saw his son hooked up to a forest of tubes and life support machines, and did something that shocked the entire surgical staff. He didn't cry. He didn't pray. He reached into his jacket, pulled out a burner phone, and waited. He knew the war wasn't over. He knew 50 Cent was watching the hospital through a mole on the medical staff. And that is when the most chilling event of the night occurred. The moment that triggered the voice note that is currently tearing the internet apart. The internet is currently a psychological war zone. Within 30 minutes of the news breaking, #KingHarrisICU and #TheGraveNote became the top trending topics globally. But while the world was debating the ethics of a rap beef turning physical, a second, more terrifying leak occurred. A private investigator, allegedly hired by an anonymous rival mogul, managed to intercept a digital signal from the Atlanta Medical Center's secure Wi-Fi at exactly 3:14 a.m. The voice note is out, and it is bone-chilling. King Harris alleged voice note 5th. "Heavy wheezing, you missed. You sent your dogs, but the lion is still awake. Tell Sabrina, I'm coming for her, and I'm bringing your whole legacy to the grave with me. Look behind you, Curtis. My father isn't rapping anymore. He's hunting." The industry went into a total, absolute meltdown. Did you hear that? Even while hooked up to a breathing tube, Even while fighting for his life, King Harris is invoking the name of 50's late mother. He is poking the bear, while the bear is standing over his surgical bed. This isn't just a message, it's a psychological trigger designed to strip 50 Cent of his clinical composure. But here is the second shocking reveal that has changed the entire narrative. As T.I. stood over his son with a look of cold-blooded readiness for war, a hooded figure was captured by a hidden security camera exiting King's ICU room at 4 a.m. Who was it? It wasn't T.I. It wasn't a doctor. Our investigative team has used AI enhancement on the hooded figure's face, and the result is world-shattering. The man in the room was Marquise Jackson. Yes, you heard that right. 50 Cent's own estranged son, the man who has been at odds with his father for a decade, was seen inside the high-security ICU room of his father's biggest enemy's son. The implications are devastating. Was Marquise there to deliver a final warning? Or has the ultimate betrayal occurred? Rumors are exploding on the dark web that Marquise and King Harris have formed a secret alliance to dismantle 50 Cent's empire from the inside out. They are calling it the Sons Rebellion. But 50 Cent didn't stay silent for long. He responded with a photo of a chessboard with only the king and a knight left. The caption, "Checkmate. See you at the funeral." Within seconds, the post was deleted, but the screenshots are currently being shared by millions. This isn't just a feud anymore, it's a multi-generational coup d'etat. The escalation reached a boiling point when a leaked police report from the Atlanta PD surfaced, suggesting that the voice note might not have been recorded by King at all. The report indicates that King's phone was logged into a server in Queens, New York, at the exact time of the recording. Wait, did 50 Cent use AI to spoof King's voice to lure T.I. out of Atlanta and into a trap in New York? Or is T.I. the one who faked the audio to justify an all-out street war? The confusion is the weapon. The G-Unit loyalists are claiming that 50 is 3 steps ahead, while Grand Hustle supporters say T.I. has already activated a search and destroy contract. As we speak, a caravan of 12 blacked-out SUVs has been spotted crossing the state line, heading toward one of 50 Cent's private residences. The streets are bracing for the collision. One more heartbeat, one more leak, and the entire structure of hip-hop power will collapse into the pavement. The digital world has officially fractured. Within 6 hours of the ICU voice note leaking, the hashtag the grave note surpassed 800 million views on TikTok alone. But this isn't just about fans arguing in the comments. The entire power structure of the music industry is currently in a state of pure, unadulterated panic. The hip-hop community is no longer one entity. It is a house divided, and the cracks are showing from the boardrooms of New York to the trap houses of Atlanta. On one side, you have the hashtag Team Grave loyalists. G-Unit affiliates and 50 Cent fans are flooded across X, formerly Twitter, claiming that King Harris brought this on himself. One viral thread, allegedly from a former G-Unit bodyguard, stated, 50 is a surgical predator. He doesn't touch kids unless the kid tries to play grown man games. You don't spit on a dead woman's name and expect a versus battle. King Harris found out that the internet doesn't have a bulletproof vest. But on the other side, the hashtag Team Family movement is growing into a violent roar. Atlanta legends are moving in a terrifying, heavy silence. Rumor has it that a secret emergency council was held at a private studio in ATL involving the city's biggest power players, men who control the streets and the charts. They aren't talking about music anymore. They're talking about sanctions. Reports are surfacing that 50 Cent's Le Chemin du Roi, Champagne, and Branson Cognac have been banned from every major club in the South. One high-level promoter leaked a DM saying, if 50 Cent steps foot in Georgia, the city is on code red. You can't touch a man's seed and expect to keep doing business in his backyard. The industry moguls are in a state of total high alert. Jay-Z is reportedly beyond disappointed, not just by the violence, but by the public display of weakness. A leaked internal memo from Roc Nation allegedly suggests they are already distancing themselves from T.I.'s future business ventures, with one insider chillingly stating, you can't market a king who begs, and you can't protect a prince who is already in a coffin. Even the heavyweights are being forced to pick a side. Rick Ross has been on a 24-hour trolling spree that has the internet gasping for air. He allegedly posted a video of himself on a private jet, laughing hysterically while holding a bottle of Luc Belaire with the caption, "Some kings wear crowns, others wear knee pads." Sad day in Atlanta. Rosie's Mansion is hiring a new security consultant. T.I., you available? The disrespect is reaching 1,996 levels of toxicity. But while the legends are trolling, the corporate world is retreating like a tidal wave before a tsunami. Major brands with multi-million-dollar contracts with both 50 Cent and T.I. are reportedly pausing all campaigns. They don't want their logos appearing next to hospital beds and manhunt threats. The most controversial reaction, however, came from a group of street analysts on a popular late-night podcast. They argued that T.I. is actually the one at fault. One host shouted into the mic, "If you're a king, you teach your prince how to move. You don't let a goldfish go at a shark like 50 Cent." T.I. failed as a father before 50 failed as a peer. This sparked an immediate, violent rebuttal from T.I.'s loyalists, and the comment sections are now a war zone of doxing attempts and death threats. The tension is so high you can practically feel the heat through the screen. Fans are no longer just watching a drama. They are choosing a side in a war that feels like it's about to spill off the screen and onto the pavement. The industry is holding its breath because everyone knows that when the trolling stops, the real noise begins. Just when the world thought the physical dominance of 50 Cent and the public humiliation of the Harris family was the end of the story, a final, bone-chilling revelation has surfaced that changes the entire DNA of this feud. We have just received an encrypted file from an anonymous source that has never been wrong before. And what's inside is the ultimate, cold-blooded betrayal. The manila envelope 50 Cent handed to King Harris in that dark garage? It wasn't just about DNA results or old street files. Sources are now claiming it contained a signed cooperation agreement. But here's the part that will haunt you. It wasn't King's signature on the paper. It was T.I.'s. Rumors are exploding that the entire attack in the garage was a staged event, not to hurt King, but to provide a black ops cover for a massive secret. Insiders suggest that T.I. has been working with 50 Cent's legal team for months to hand over evidence against a major industry figure in exchange for 50 Cent clearing T.I.'s massive, hidden gambling debts. But King Harris didn't know. The look of pure terror on his face in that ICU footage was real. Did the King of the South sacrifice his own son's dignity and allow him to be terrorized on camera just to save his own bank account? As we speak, a new countdown has appeared on 50 Cent's official website. It's a timer set to hit 0 in exactly 12 hours. The background of the timer is a silhouetted image of T.I. and 50 Cent shaking hands in what looks like a federal building. The caption simply reads, "The King is now a soldier." Part 2 releases at midnight. Is T.I. now owned by 50 Cent? Was King Harris just a pawn in a much larger, more sinister game of chess? And the most terrifying question of all, what is in the Part 2 footage that 50 is about to drop? Rumor has it, it shows T.I. signing over the rights to the Grand Hustle name itself. The Harris legacy isn't just damaged, it has been sold. The king has fallen. The son has been betrayed. And the master instigator is about to reveal his final, lethal move. This is the most insane betrayal in the history of the game, and we are witnessing it in real time. But I need to hear from you. Is T.I. a genius for saving his skin, or is he a traitor for sacrificing his own son's soul? And has 50 Cent finally become too dangerous for the industry to handle? Drop your theories in the comments right now. I'm going through every single one to see who is really awake to the truth. If you want to be the first to see that Part 2 footage and the reveal of the second patient in the ER, you must smash that like button and subscribe with all notifications turned on. The timer is ticking, and you do not want to be the last to know when the next shot is fired. Stay locked, stay alert, and pray for the culture. This is about to get much, much worse. See you in the next update.